Welcome to Passionaire Magazine, the podcast where we talk about business, tech, food and travel, fashion, health and fitness, the arts and culture, where we want you to live your passion. Passionaire Magazine, the podcast. Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining me for Passionaire Magazine, the podcast. One of the things that I get asked about is time management. Now, I do understand that there are many who believe that time cannot be managed. I do understand your train of thought there. But for the sake of this conversation, we're going to use the words and the understanding of time the way that most people understand it. So when I'm asked about time management, I understand the question to mean, how can I get more out of my day? Or how do you get the most out of the 24 hours that you have been given? That is an amazing question. And I think that most entrepreneurs or preneur people, right? Solopreneurs, mompreneurs, will have an answer that really applies to them. But I want to give you perhaps a different way of thinking about your day. Now, if you are coming from the corporate world or you're coming from the world of being an employee, then you understand many times that your working hours are fixed, meaning that they dictate to you when your working hours will be. First shift, second shift, third shift, 9 to 5, 7 to 4, that type of thing, right? All right. But when you become an entrepreneur, you realize that being in the box of a 9 to 5 doesn't necessarily work. When inspiration hits, it doesn't say, it's 8:15. I can't be inspiring right now. Working hours are over or haven't begun yet. So your inspiration may hit you at various times of the day. On certain days, you may find that you're most creative. On certain kinds of days, you may find that you are more or less creative. What do I mean by that? You may find that on a rainy day that you are more or less creative. On a snowy day, on a bright sunshiny day, you get what I'm saying there. Many people use their environment to help them create the day that they want to create in the long run. Back to time. So one of the things that you can do is to redefine your day as far as your time is concerned. So when we look at a 24-hour block, instead of looking at just what the normal working hours are, break it up into 2 distinct 12-hour periods. What you do within those 12-hour periods is totally and completely up to you. When we look at the first block of 12 a.m. to 12 p.m., that's midnight to noon. When we look at that time frame, many people will say, well, Dr. Angela, I'm asleep. Okay. But there are many people who are night owls. They like to work during those midnight, early morning hours. If that's you, then this time block may be the perfect fit for you. If you find that you are most creative, that you are dealing with clients or vendors or guests or customers that are in another country, and that time zone when they are awake, here in the States, we would normally be asleep. If it is advantageous for you to be awake, then my suggestion would be awake. I know that many of the people that I deal with, they are in fact in another country and they should be sleeping right now, but they're not, because 90% of their customer base is based in the US. So if that time frame works for you, get out of the old habit, the rat race of 9 to 5. If midnight to noon is better. Now, some of you may be saying that was the shift that I worked when I was an employee and I hated it. I understand. Perhaps it's time for you to shift the way that you're thinking about your 12 hours in a day. Or this is just the time that you are most productive. Perhaps you're not a morning person and you would rather not be on the phone with customers or clients during the 7 a.m. hour. I totally and completely understand. This time frame is from 12 p.m. until 12 a.m. It is from noon until midnight. So you are going to work, so to speak, at lunchtime. And you will work through the drive, the afternoon rush hour drive home. Nope, you're still working. You get to miss out on that. You will still be in your creative mode when it is 9 p.m. And you don't start winding down your day until 11 p.m. because when the clock strikes 12 a.m. midnight, your day is over. You will go home or step into your bedroom, call it a night, shower, go to sleep, wake up in the morning as the sun decides to wake you up, and you will start your day at 12 p.m. noon. Now, for many people, this idea seems absolutely far-fetched. How could you possibly do this? This doesn't make any sense. I don't understand. Well, one of the best things that I have come to realize is that I am not a 7 a.m. phone call type of person. I'm not a 9 a.m. phone call type of person. I am best on the phone a little later in the morning. So at 9 a.m., instead of being on a call with customers, clients, or vendors, I choose to use that time to deal with any emails that need my attention. I simply have learned how to shift my time, my understanding of what I am allowed to do during my time. See, I'm allowed to be as productive when I am productive. No one else can really dictate that to you but you. There are suggestions. There are things that we can do to make sure that our productivity matches that of our client base. Sure, we don't want to be silly and be sleeping when our customers are looking for us. But we do want to be mindful of what our natural rhythms happen to be. That was one of the greatest gifts that I gave to myself, is saying that I have permission to be on my laptop at 2 a.m. if I need to be. Why can't I be? I am being creative. Why must I be asleep? Now, in the world of being an employee, I want you to be smart. If you are trying to hold down your 9 to 5 and build your business, please, by all means, don't do anything that's going to cause you to be sleepy at your day job. We want you to be wide awake, bushy-tailed, and ready to do exactly what you need to do. But I also want you to be able to build your dream until you can say goodbye to that 9 to 5. We want to work smart. We don't want to make things hard for ourselves. Now, another way, a different way of thinking about dissecting your day is by using the more traditional sense of looking at a day, in that the day starts with dawn, with those early morning hours. Now, again, there is no right or wrong way to dissect your day. What I'm trying to introduce to you is the mindset of time, is to change how you think about time and to improve your mindset and relationship with time. Now, I want to break down time into more bite-sized pieces, if you will. Your mornings in this example will be from 5 a.m. until 9 a.m. Now, many of you are familiar with the 5 a.m. club, which makes this example a really, perhaps a little bit more palatable for you. This might be the one that works for you. So morning is 5 a.m. to 9 a.m. What are you going to do during that time period? Many people choose to use their morning time slot, in this example, to exercise, to read, meditate, get their mind right for the day, to go over their plan of action that they wrote the night before, or to make any necessary adjustments to what they're going to do for the day. Of course, hit the ground running and be ready when the whistle blows. And what do I mean by that? Long time ago, it used to be, that 9 a.m. whistle in many of the locations where there was a mill or a yard, like a shipyard, or some place where they would do construction, where they would blow the whistle and let you know that the day that shift had started. Now, that's your morning slot, 5 a.m. to 9 a.m. The next time slot is midday. Now, if you are familiar with my radio program, Daily Spark with Dr. Angela, you know that I am a midday radio slot. Well, how do you know that? Because midday is from 10 a.m. until 3 p.m. So morning, that 5 a.m. to 9 a.m. tends to be when we get that radio show with all the bells and whistles, right? They're trying to wake us up, get us ready for the morning drive, and they're trying to, kind of hype us up and get us excited for the day. Well, midday time slot, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m., you are seated at your desk. You are ready to go. You've already grabbed your coffee or tea, and you are now in work mode. You are in creative mode. And you, my dear friend, are seizing the day. That is from 10 a.m. until 3 p.m. The next time slot is evening, and that is from 4 until 7 p.m. Now, for many people, I like to slot this from 4 p.m. until 8 p.m. That evening time. So this would be your evening drive home. This would be where if you went into work, perhaps at 7:38, you're getting off at 4:35, right? So there's so much traffic during this evening time that this is the perfect time if you are trying to catch someone before they walk out of the door. You may want to make that phone call during the midday, because the evening time slot between 4 p.m. and 7 or 8 p.m., I'm extending it to 8 p.m., is when many people are either on the road going home or they have already made it home, and now they are shifting many times from their business hat into their personal hat, right? They're now home and they're checking in on their kids, their significant other. They're planning for the next workday, so on and so forth, depending on what they have to do. Maybe they're going to a sporting event or some type of extracurricular event for their children during this time slot. That's evening. Now, I like to think of the nighttime time slot as 9 p.m. on during prime time television. Now, if you are of a particular understanding of how time is set up, you remember that 9 p.m. used to be announced as prime time because it was when shows would come on that were no longer necessarily a family shows. This is when the shows for the adults would come on. Now, I'm not talking about anything, raunchy or anything like that. It's just these were the shows that were a little bit more of adult content. Perhaps there was some language warnings, or there may have been some violence warnings. It was not the after school specials. It wasn't viewing necessarily for the little kids. But if you were 16 and older, let's say, your parents might allow you to watch a program with them. So when we look at prime time, we are looking at that time of day where this is very much a specific audience that you are working with or for, or this is a time period where you are most creative for whatever reason. Many times it's because the day has slowed, the hustle and bustle of the day itself has slowed down. Your children should be in bed by now, probably because they have school in the morning, that type of thing, so you've put them down for the evening. That 8 p.m., 8:30 bedtime works great because at 9 p.m. you are shifting into your night mode for being creative. Now, that night slot goes until you are ready to call it a day and go ahead and lay down and go to bed. Now, this time slot, the night slot, may be one of the shorter because you may have a goal of starting to be a member of the 5 a.m. club, right? So let's say your creativity starts at 9 p.m., but you try to shut that down by 11 p.m. so that you can actually be sound asleep by midnight so that you can be up and at 'em by 5 a.m. Now, you may be saying, Dr. Angela, I need more sleep than that. Now, I'm talking about putting in creative time slots for yourself if you are especially working a day job. So one of these time slots may be really great for you because you are trying to figure out, where can I be creative around my job's working hours? So choose the time slot that really works for you and use that as your time that you are working smart and not hard. You have decided that. I'll use myself as an example. When I was in the working world, I worked from 9 until 5. So I knew that I needed to, when I got off, go home and take care of my family. So my evening time slot from 4 until 7 was still filled with being, that domestic version of me and making sure that my family was okay. So for me, that prime time, nighttime slot was perfect. So I was creative at that 8, 9, 10 o'clock slot so that I could use that to work on building my business while I was still working during the day. Now, eventually, I decided that it was time to transition and be self-employed full time. That was a great day. And I don't want anyone to feel as though they have to put undue pressure on themselves. Have a conversation with yourself. Have a conversation with your family and figure out, when is the transition really going to work and what are the expectations, especially if you are trying to start your business without any loans, without any debt, and you are trying to fund the transition yourself. Many people, including myself, did that. So you are putting money from your salary to the side until you have that amount that you think is going to work for you. Many franchises will tell you that unless you have X amount of money put to the side for your personal income, you're not ready to have a franchise, because your franchise is only going to, within the first year or two, many times only generate enough income, enough profit for you to simply put that back into the business and grow your business. That it will not be until year 3, 4, 5 where your business actually generates enough income for you to continue to pay your mortgage off of that. So do be smart. Be really aware and mindful of your relationship with time. Again, I can't force you into one scenario or the other, but I can suggest to you that you look at, who are you? Really and truly, who are you? What time of day do you find that your mind is just really on top of things? Use that as wisely as you can to either continue to generate income as an employee so that you can use that income to the best of your ability, or use that in a way that is going to generate income for your business so that you can make a smooth transition into your new you. I hope that I have given you something to think about, and that you will now think of time differently. You will be aware of the 24 hours that you have been given, and you will be the most productive that you can possibly be. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. Thank you for listening to Passionaire Magazine, the podcast.